Hey guys, JR here from the Forge Brotherhood Bunker Hill, West Virginia. Today's topic is adventure. And I know what you're thinking, like, that is a weird topic to be talking about as far as trying to, bring some kind of godly wisdom to a scenario where we're all trying to just have fun. We're trying to find adventure in our life. I think we live in a world where many times we're paralyzed by pleasure. I find myself many times with options paralysis, too many options to do this or too many options to do that, and I can't make up my mind. And it's very obvious we're in this society now where we seek adventure, and if you're not part of some elaborate adventure in your life, then you're not living a fulfilled life. And I'm here to tell you that that's a lie. That chasing excitement is just going to fatigue you, and it's going to exhaust you, and it's going to wear you out. I promise you that it will. There's nothing wrong with adventure. There's nothing wrong with celebration. I'm someone who always says that God gave us celebration to balance out and to offset all the horror that we have to deal with in this world. I have family members dying of cancer right now as we speak. That's very uncomfortable. But God balances those dark times out with celebration and adventure. We just have to make sure that we're people who aren't allowing ourselves to be defined by that adventure or the amount of adventure we have in our lives. Because there's just so much more to live for than just the next emotional high. Does that make sense to you? Because I find myself just beating myself up sometimes and not being able to live in and enjoy today because I feel like I'm not on a higher level of excitement or a higher level of fulfillment, when really maybe right where I'm at with my old boring life is exactly where God needs me right now. The walk of faith is not knowing. That's the thing about being a Christian, is that if you knew all the answers to everything, what in the world would you need God for? You know? And I get people who come to me all the time asking me, I just want to know God's will for my life. I just want to, live in God's will and walk in God's will. Well, walking in His will many times is not knowing what His will is. That's why it's the walk of faith. Because you're walking by faith, not by sight. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So if you can already see, the answers to your problems, then why would you ever need to have faith? Chasing excitement, chasing adventure is not a bad thing, but it needs to be moderation in everything. Because many of us live on this depression roller coaster because if we're not out just pushing the adrenaline button all the time, then we don't know how to be at peace with ourselves during the quiet times. You don't always have to have some great American, adventure to be fulfilled. Sometimes just quiet time with God is enough. Just humbling yourself before Him and saying, Lord, help me, grow me, teach me. Don't give up on me. Sometimes that's where we find the most satisfaction in life. I just challenge you today to ask God to reveal Himself to you. Ask Him to open your eyes to His understanding. None of us are perfect and none of us are as we should be. But we should all be striving to live a virtuous life and striving to be who God has called us to be. Thankfully, our salvation is not based on our behavior. It's based on our choice to have faith that Christ's work on the cross is what our foundation is based on, not our behavior. But our behavior should align with that faith in Christ. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.